Welcome to Wake, a cold reading of James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, just to hear it out loud. Join Toby Malone and TJ Young, along with some special friends, as we puzzle our way through what we once thought was an unreadable book to produce a surprisingly listenable podcast. It is Friday, August 23rd, 2024. It has been 98 days since we have started reading, with 240 pages complete of 628, meaning we have 388 pages left to go and are 38.22% of the way through Finnegan's Wake. Welcome to episode 18 of Wake, the podcast in which we reluctantly turn our focus to the author's odd fetishes, all in the name of fulfilling a long-held bucket list item, reading James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake out loud just once. I am your host, Toby Malone, joined once more by the man who I'm stealthily turning into a high-key James Joyce stan, my co-host TJ Young. Hey, TJ.
I mean, it's working. I'm not going to deny that. Hi, Toby. How are you?
I'm great. I'm sort of in slight denial over the end of the summer. It's 23rd of August, which means it's only a week or so until Labor Day. And then school starts. So that's always a slight sinking feeling.
I teach my first class in 4 days.
Oh,
semester starts in 3.
That's right.
Tomorrow is orientation stuff. I'm like, goodbye.
Well, I'm so glad to snag you now while we can before things start getting really busy. And we were supposed to record yesterday, but you got a jacked up hip.
I did, which, I don't want to... When you say it like that...
I'm putting it on the record. TJ is getting old. He looks 18 years old.
I'm 1 foot in the grave. I get it. No, I will say that I woke up at 4 a.m. because I was like, my hip hurts, I was like, this is not a thing I want to wake up to ever, especially not 4 a.m. I was like, maybe I'm just laying on it wrong. Didn't matter how I turned, it was painful. And then I was like, maybe I just need to move. Maybe my body's just stiff. And I went to walk the dog, and I was like, I at one point in time, I was like, I'm just going to call Taylor and Tells to pick us up because this ain't it.
The dog's looking at you like, this isn't a walk. This doesn't count.
Yeah.
You're going so slow.
Here's the thing. She was dragging me, basically. And I was like, wait. And, I'm pretty sure the people driving by were looking at me as I limped along. But I'm feeling a lot better today.
Good.
Went to the sports doctor. We have this, weird stretching clinic. It's like a walk-in place. But I will admit, it made me feel a little self-conscious because as you walk in, all the banners are of older people, And
I thought you were going to say Steelers players or something. No.
No. This was a place that's like, hey, you can't afford PT for your great grandmother, but she can come here to stretch out, But it was real nice. They had the tables, and a really nice gentleman was like, what hurts? And I was like, this. He was like, okay, this is going to hurt more before it feels better. And it did. Mm-hmm. But today is bearable. So
yeah. Look, it's just part of getting a little bit older. That's why I retired from rugby a couple of years ago, because I realized that while I can physically play rugby still, the recovery is the killer, and trying to figure out how you recover from those bumps and bruises, which when you're 18 are nothing. When you're 46, just doesn't work anymore.
Your body's like real cute. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So even though I'm running a lot more now, this podcast has tracked the progress of my running journey over the last couple of months, where I run on the treadmill listening to Wake, and I'm better at running now, so I'm a lot fitter, and so my brain is like, I could get back to rugby, but no, it's probably not a good idea.
Don't do it.
No, but I am very glad to have you here. And last week we had a really interesting start to this chapter because Lucy was with us, so that was really nice to have her along, and nice to get a validation that other people are reading Finnegan's Wake with no real clue about what they're doing. But the main point is the delight that they feel in the words and what Joyce is doing. I find myself spending a lot of time just going, I still can't quite get my head around the fact that a human came up with this stuff and that this is coming out of a human's brain.
Yeah, I mean, I often have to remind myself, I was like, yes, this feels like a decade and a half deterioration of a mind. And it also feels like that's what's being captured. But also, I'm in love with the freedom that seems to be on the page from that.
Yeah.
And it's also smart. It reminds me of like when I was writing like poetry in earnest, and I'd spend 2 days looking for just that one turn of phrase on one line. And I was like, I can't imagine writing 600 some odd pages, like with
Yeah.
that sort of level of thoughtfulness.
Yeah, it took him so long, but also I feel as though he was doing those sort of things with a real alacrity. He was able to get to those portmanteau, those own interesting things really quickly,
Hmm.
um, and after you've done it for a while, he's inventing his own language. And eventually, I feel as though with the English language, Joyce is kind of like in that scene in The Matrix where Neo can finally see,
See everything.
he can see everything, and he's fighting all the agents, and suddenly he sees the whole world in binary code and goes, oh, I can see it all right now. And I feel like Joyce sees the layers of English in a different way to most humans.
Yeah, after page 5, he was probably like, I know kung fu.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're here to say that Finnegan's Wake is essentially the Matrix, and HCE is Neo, which I think sort of
That's
works
fair.
because there's a sort of savior kind of martyr idea going on here. So we've got the second half of this chapter here. We get to our first thunderword in a while in
Ooh.
this chapter, which I'm looking forward to. And the other thing I'm looking forward to is a couple of nights ago, my wife and daughter were out at a concert, and I was home alone with my son. And you and I were talking about whether or not we were going to have a guest on today's podcast, and we couldn't. We thought, it might be too short a time to come up with a guest. And so my son was in the next room playing drums, and I thought, he's not doing anything else. I wonder if I could get him to read a couple of pages of the Wake. And so I said, hey, do you want to come and read the Wake? And he went, okay. And so he just came and sat down. And if I tell you this kid, because this kid, he's very smart, but he's a bass player. He's not hugely communicative. You've known him since he was little, right?
Yes.
You used to play Dungeons and Dragons with him, and you can attest to the fact that he's a very sweet boy, but he's never been much of a reader. And if I tell you that he sat down and just plowed through Finnegan's Wake, like the handling of the language, and you're going to hear this because I recorded him reading the first 3 pages of this section until he finally tapped out. And tapped out not because he was beaten, but because he'd rather go back to playing drums. He just looked at me and said, "Is that enough, Dad?" No, all right, bud. So that's fine. So I'm very glad to say that today's podcast we're going to have Cormac Malone, who is nearly 15, reading the first 3 pages of our section.
So you've had the whole family on, and I go to Taylor. I'm like, surely you'll read. He'd be like, I'm okay. You know?
I don't think we're going to give him a choice. I think it's just going to be kind of like what we did with Mac, which is to say, hey, read this real quick. I'm just going to record you doing it, and then we'll stick it in. Because, I feel as though for me, this has become a real family affair of going, actually, everyone in my life who is around and available, the idea of catching their voices on a recording as we are right now, it feels very valuable and really important. So I'm excited for that, and we're able to get a lot of our really good friends on, but also my whole family. So this completes the set. So that's where we're going to start our reading today, with a recording from my son,
Beautiful.
and then there's a little interview I did with him at the end where you'll hear his general teenagerdom coming out in the interview, where he'd much rather be going back to playing drums.
I love that.
Yeah, so lots to look forward to. So let's get to it. We last week we spent a lot of time talking about the Night Games episode with Lucy, and if you haven't listened to that episode, I would suggest starting there just to give you a go in, because the beginning of this chapter is essentially halfway through. It's not really at a natural breaking point. And so we had the 3 siblings all playing these games. As always, we're reading from the Penguin Modern Classics edition of Finnegan's Wake, published in 2000 with a foreword by Seamus Dean. Today we'll be reading the second half of Chapter 2.1 from pages 240 to 259 in this edition. This is a segment we discussed last week with Lucy, is creepily titled Night Games, Child's Play. Glug, or Shem, must guess the colour of his sister's underwear. Which we litigated a bit last week. I think we're going to get a little bit more of it this week.
I just want clarity as to why.
That's the title given by the Oxford World Classic edition of 2012, which also includes brief summaries of what's happening in each subsection, which we'll address at the end of the reading. And now, without further ado, Finnegan's Wake.
But lo, boys, lo, he rises, shivering with his spityful eyes, and woos become voice. Epta! Sesamis! Examen of conscience scruples now, he to the best of his memory Shamato. Numir forever sidden on the stolen, with his tumesinquinance in the thight of his tumstol. No more singing all the dags in his senegagging. Expersely at hand counterhand. Trinitatis kink had mudded his dome, pecat and pent for pre. Himself, Munchal, maiden, born of thug tribe into brood blackmail. Duly redecent albigenesis Hennessy's. He, by bletchend mac of the goals, pro for him penance and come off internatural. He, self-sufficient, egg smutter in chaff sporticolarissimo, what though the dust throws in his layabad eyes, make polente rossum. Good Savor's queen with the stem of Sweeth Aftrek, fit for king of Zundus, out of Biancanes, hiking a hake like any nudge Morogarud, all over Terracuta. No more throw acids, face all of abilities, appeal for the union and play for trinities. He prays Saint Calambarnus to make clean breast stack of goody girl now as ever drank milk soap from a spone, a weed-hearted boy of Potter and Mutter, chip of old Flynn the Flinter, twig of the hider that tanned him. He go calaboosh all same. He go calaboosh all same he tell him out. Tough love man he strip him all mussy calico belong. All mussy calico belong him all the shame he tell him all out how he makes what name. He through wall connection, relation belong his remarkable Molaman, Anax Andrum, Parley Glutton, pure blood Jebusite, Senti Prosent, Ursarum, spoken drug malt Storhues. Entrance on back, most open on the lay days, he in peach skin shantongues possible sooth to say, notwithstanding far former guiles, and he gaining fish considerable by saving grace after avalanche, to look most profitable of smiley skibla eye. He repeat of him as pious alios, 'cause he asked for shave and haircut people, said he'd shape of Higoet, where he was just sheep of Hergot, with his tile togged. Top. Not true what chronicles is bringing his portmanteau preammed full potato words. Big dumb crumb digaditches say Big dumb crumb digaditches say short again actor, even while assassinated by summon, Hicorexiorum, penny silvers offerings and blow donages with candid zuckers and spliciuses, walk in presence to Lilith maidenettes, for at blew his nose for him with priest polygamious intentions, he having that pecuniarity, ailment, specularity, and Heathercliff emergency on gale days because suffrant chronic from a plentitude of house torts. Colossal Rhodomantic not wert one bronze lie scholarina say as he, grade Vike cuddle puller, walk in her sleep his pig in dicks weg femti fem funds. Of so little is her teeman trouse nest great for greeting his immenseness. Such soon as set they were, her eyes as his oraholes. Khalid Velch, how could one classically? One could not critically. In a nest lighting shaft only for loyal lit smug pipe, his mistress Merishame of cupric tresses, the form white fomamine, the amber salin dalid, after as Dr. Talip's onomatony lecture. Amish, holy balm of Saints to Mary's, he is as good as a mountain, and everybody what is found as his giants. He knew Maestral Wykinson for framed Nordwogen's Kampf 10 with complexion of blushing dolomite, fanned by Ozione breezes, what never saw his bedshed furrower, and never met his swigamore, have his ignominy from prima signation of being Master Milkchew, queerest man in the benighted queendom, and Adcraft Aident how he found the kids. Other accuse him as Lockneed Forsunkener, dope in stock knob, and a melting molt after rheumatism. Purely simply Tammy Ratkins. The Kurds have copped on the Berberuders and their Bedouins, even was Shez whole begeds off before all his nahars in the cold Bethisdrael. No good, not one zoos. They white liveried rag sups, two whales of the sea of deceit, the they bloody blab-stirred shooters, three dromedaries of the sands of Calamdonia, as is noteworthy to stalk his hind. You're griefed on them. Such Ascors and the Ruperts they are putting in for more Oshgears is als false Liarnals. The Frockins halted victims. Hor affirm is against Sempri Laudacarsons. They would lick their lenses before they would negatees a Jom Petter from his sodalites. In his contrary and on reality, which Bishop Babwith bears to his witness in his justification of volumses. This Mr. here, a Sassor Nielsen, of sore estate hearing, deceased, formerly with adenoics, den feed all lightly, lax leaf great change of retiring family buckler, highly accurate in his everythings, from 10 cents coupole to bargain basement, live with how thold of number 7, wide awake, wound about, woking bets, weaklings, in black velvet on Yolgan mission scientist Manji years his rear in the lane pictures, blanking same with Otto Knot and annexes, and got a dar-linked baby boy buck tooth, the thick of a gobstick, coming on ever so nurses nursely graces to goodies at 81. That why all parks up excited about his gun fodder. That why a crazy Aztecs and the crime ministers preaching him mornings, and makes a power of spoon victuals out of his proverbs. That why he, persona erecta, glycora woman, arsenicful famornicer, for a trial by Julius, in celestial sun hat, with 2 purses agitating his theopot with wacklebout shake, rather incoherent from 118 to 118 bliss, young shy gay couples, young shy gay youngs, simply far infusing up pretty tibidities to lock up their Reno daisies and be nice and 20 in the shade. Old grand tutut tusher up of young photographies, and he turned around abrupt red, alt frumpishly like. Here Samar Tioner falls, some make one noise. It's his last lap, gigantic fair him wheel. Revelation, a fact, true bill, by a jury of matrons. Hump for humble dist, dump for dirts, and, to make a long stony batter and a worldly show a perfect sight, His thing went the holy way, set up, suffer great straight.
Helpmeet too. Contrast his toga, his fairy goose mother, Laotzi Taotzi, woman who did, he tell princess of the age about. You sound on me, judges. Suppose we brisken up. Kings, meet the mem. Avonlith all viviparous out of the couples of lizards. She just as finny as he is vulgar. How lot soever her latest still, her saw logs come up all standings. Sing a song of sixpence, apro, uh, apocry, apo, ap, apocryphally, apro, apocryphally of rhyme. His cheek mole of Aleph forever, her all in all, and his current never teach it her and be the owner of thyself. So she not swap her Ecot Hejim of for Howardin's castle, England, Wales, but be the alliances of Erin of his flamin vesticoat, the fibre of brooch bronze of brooch bronze to his winter mantle of pointed fox. Who not knows she, the Madam Cooley Cooley, spam wife of Laird of Manham, when first come into the pictures more as hundreds elks yards of Annams call away, factory fresh and fuming at the mouth, wronged by Huwad Wedniot, uh, Magrath Magrief. He he takeable a rap for that early party, and whenceforward Annie Mama and her fierty bustles terrified by uh, mere gnomes of mountains, and furry bound to be back in her my Tibeti. She frightened all souls at Piggin Pugginen and gets a pan in her stummy for the Palabellers in the per war. Yet Jack tick tacking all around her about his poorliness due to panelism and grime from for that he harbored her when Femisol, her Zozraven Lord and Givengur general, and led her an ancient consort room and bound her durant coverture so as she could not steal from him Oz her or damn him, so as if ever she's believed by Cheekin Bruth death since both was parties to the feed its hetman McCummel foots the funeral. Meanwhile, she nurtured him Josset from her Elmer's alms dish, Yantar and Tishchain as Siam as Beberons with Foley Signors, tenor room manchies, to Fishley and Ladwigs out of the Ludwogs like a skittering kitty scattering hails, when his favorites were all beruffled on him and her own undesirables just gesticulating. It was such a blow-wick day, widen, warden, wild, like witchin, weedin, wanton. The why, if he but would bite and plug his botcha pipes and renounce the devlins and all their pums and kip the streel workers out of the plague and the nestler's milk from sinking the honeycomb and cop ula bubo selling faulty treeps. She would make massa dinners with her souvenir de- dealinish and delicate her nut brown glory cloak to Maidie Bernice and hang herself in Ostmanstown St. Megan's and make no more mullerage before Matham's and Molsymans, but would undulate her sugar loft hat from apple with a viv base baseliger and a clam-mast apotria like any purple cardinal's princess or woman of the grave, word to the papal legate from the Vatican, Monsieur Robinson Croesus, with an ass of milk to his cowmate, and the chitlins on an account of all the quaqueducts for the honor of Huram, and the nations aboard him, and wap mezzo scudo to Sant Percy Oriel to give Luis Marios Josephs the loyal devounces to be offered up misses for vouch for widows.
Hear, O world without, tiny tattling, backwoods be wary, dainty trees go Dutch. But who comes yond with pyre on pole top? He who relights our spearing torch, the moon. Bring low-lay branches to mud cabins and peace to the tents of cedar and neomany. The feast of Tubba Nigglers is at hand. Shop, shop, Innis fail. Temple, temple, tells the bells. Is Sinniging a sang-a-song? For all in Ondersby, and the hag they dame name Coverfew hists from her lane. And haste 'tis time for bands to hame. Chickchards, come ho to roo. Come ho to roo, we chickchards do, when the wild werewolf's abroad. Ah, let's away and let's gay and let's stay shay where the log fire's burning. It darkles, tinct, tint. All this our fundamental world. Yon marsh pond by roadmark verge is visited by the tide. Alva Maria, we are circumveloped by the obscuritades. Man and belves friren. There is a wish on them to be not doing or anything. Or just for rugs, zoo could. Dur, def, col, leon, and pzz, colas, pyrrhus. Ha! Where is our highly honour-worthy salutable spouse-founderess? The foolish one of the family is within. Ha ha! Who's o'er? Where's he? At house, 'tis pity. With Nancy hands. Seat she. Hound though the maize has fled. What ho! Isegrim under lolling ears. Farwell. And wheaten bells bide breathless. All. The trail of gill not yet is to be seen. Rocks drops, up bend, down dell, a craggy road for rambling. Not yet through starland, that silver sash. What ear is oaring? Langong late. Say long, Sciello. Silium, sea, low. Selene, sail, o. Immune? Arc? No? Naught stirs in Spinney. The swayful pathways of the dragonfly spider stay still in readery. Quiet takes back her folded fields. Tranquil thanks, adieu. In Deerhaven, embraced, alleged, enjointed, and unlatched, the birds Tomalize too, quail silent. 2. Lewithan, Newithan, was Yvonne ere a while. Now continctuum, as Lord the Leohun is shoots her eyes. The time of lying together will come, and the wildering of the nict will cocky doodle Auburn's aurora. Panther monster. Send leave barrow loads a morrow. While lovedom sleeps. Ellenfant has siang his triumph. Great is Eliphas magistrodontus, and after knee prayer pious for Behemoth and Mehamoth will rest him from Tusker toils. Salam salam. Rhino Horm is not so's pigfellow, but him is gone's worst. Kiki cookie. Hoppo poppo dorm. So beast. No chair of beagles, frantling of peacocks, no muzzling of the camel, smuttering of apes. Lights, page boy, lights. Brights will be brights, with help of Hanukin's lamp. When otter leaps in outer parts, then Yule remembers May. Her hung maid moans a blooming look to greet those lows on coast of amethyst. Arc glows sea fire, seaman's lure, and Wexford Warnerforth's hooker crookers. And now with Robbie Brer Fox, fishy fable listened out, the threads somewhat torn and knots in its Antigoemens. The pesky lines of Lafayette's bowl have stopped squiggling about Juno, and the Welk and Feria quintimism and pebble infinibly, and the poison of the Hogley course. And if Lubba Nabahor laid his horka to the ribber, save the Girgargo and Debarden going in his mount of knowledge, munt, which would not hear a flip-flap in all Finnyland. Witchman, watch of your night. Es vos, es nos, not vos, yes, noun. It goes. It does not go. Dark parks are cure with sucking loves. Rosamond's by her wishing well. Soon tempting twos will stroll at venture and hunt by threes, strut musketeering. Brace of girdles, brass of boys, with the width of the way for jogjoy. Hulker's cyclist, Elban nonsense. Hold hard, and his dithering waltzes of strite. But meetings mate not as foreseen. Hesperons. And if you want to Livermouth, Wenderer, while Jempson's weed decks Jackson's island, here lurks, bar hell, pell, hull, mull the bell, none iron welcome. Bing, bong, bang bong, thunderation. You took with the mullygrubs and we lack mulsum? No, sirree, Bob. Great goodness, no. Were you merrily Queen of Scuts, or but Christian the Last? Our duty to you, Chris. Loyalty, squat. How mat your mark, though looped your jowl. Here's dapple-bellied mugs and trouble-bedded rooms and sawdust strewn in expectoration and for ratification by specification of your information, Mr. Knight, Tun-tapster, Buttles, his aloofroos up to his hip. And what's he like sees after all rinsings and don't owe Miss Kate, home swab homely, put in with the bricks. A's the sign and one's the number. Where Cheviot Chaser calls the cup and Poro Porim stands a stirrup. Die ud huis bij de Kierkegaard. So who overcomes ever for whoopee weeks must put up with the jug and chambers. But heed, our 30-minute war's a lull. All's quiet on the feld of Gory. Between the Starfort and the Thornwood brass castle flams with mutton candles. Hushka, a horn. Gaddle Magtog. God as L? Housefather calls in threateningly. From Brandon Borgenthor. At Ace's Arthur, in thundercloud periwig, with lightning bug a flash from a finger. My souls, and by jings should he work his jaw to give down to the banks and hark from the tomb. Ankisoka pokes in her postal to souse at the sop be sodden and now, and to hear to all the bubbles besaying, the coming man, the future woman, the food that is to build, what he with 15 years will do, the ring in her mouth of joyous guard, stars astir and stir about. A palish for hers, a saucy for hers, and ladle-like spoons for the wanna. But iron and twee were never worth 3, so they must have their final since he's on parole. A Lapo, Leone, has the choice of her lives between Josephinus and Mario Louis, and for who is to wear the lily of Bohemy, Florestan, Thaddeus, Hardress, or Miles, and lead raptivity captive, ready, like a fin at a fair. Now for Labella, icy Labelle. The campus calls them, Ninen, the Gatling gan. Childs will be wilds, 'twas told, and vamp, the girls are merchant. The short horse show magnate draws his field, and don't the fillyings fly? Educande of Sorrento, they know well their Vico's road. Ranked in their array, and flocking for the fray, on that old orange ray, Dolly Bray. For these are not on terms, they twain, Bart Rosses, since their baffle of Waterloos when Adam left us and the devil took our hindmost, gifting her with his pineapple, nor will not be atoned at all and fight to no finish, that dark deed doer, that well-willed wooer, jerk off and eat soup, yem or yan, while Felix is who Culpas does, and harms are worth healing, and Brune is bad French for jour d'anneau. Tiggers and tuggers, they're all for 10 zones. Betlim braves, for she must valk out, and it must be with who? Tease for him, toes for him, toss for him, too. Else there is danger of solitude.
Post reintroducing Jeremy, the chaste most coulter, the flowing towel that brooks no brooking runs on to say how, as it was multilayer foretold of him by a time killer to his space maker, Velos Ambos, and Arbient Kients, with their tails within wheels and stuck between spokes, on the hike from Elm's Tree to Steen and back. How, running a wage with the use of reason, sick, and ramming amuck at the break of his voice, sex. His latter's haft was set from getting the better's whole of his youngen tongued. For control, number thrice was operating the subliminal of his invaded personality. He nobit smorfy and go poultry and let all of his tondo gang bola del ruffo. Barto no him more. Eat larto altrius with most perfect stranger. Boo, you're through. Who? I'm true. Men, can a tea simmering, hamu, mavrone carry o? Tea potty. Cod knows. Anything ruined. Meaningless. He wept in interium. With such a tooth he seemed to love his wee tart when aby. Highly mourning he see the before him. Malane from nape to kneecap, though vied from his girders up. Holy Santalto, cursing saint, sight most delicious, to Ross up the spy balls like exude of Margary. And how him it heaviered that the iron rust, and they bear falls witless against thee, how slight become a hidden wound? Sold water. He wash him all time big feller bruisey place belong him. He no want Mrs. Blong all boy, other look bruisey place belong him. Hence, it all payeth the chase not, and that weir of the winces he had looseth uh, his wants for every, even though mode grow more and more mannerish and the tarara boom decay. Immaculacy, give back to drink, give but to drink to a shirt, and all skirts at skorts must change her tunics. So ward he from first to last for band and bet willingly a smuggler for lifer. Lift the blank V veered as hail. Split the havid and eye sees heaven. He knows, for he's seen it in black and white through his eye trumpet, trained upon jennies and all that sort of thing, which is dandy mount to the clear obscure. Pretty maid, tints may try their taunts. Apple, botchnut, custard, dove, Eskimo, fledgrower, hematite, it's a glass, jet, kipper, lucille, mimosa, nut, oysterite, prune, quasimodo, royal, sago, tango, umber, vanilla, uh, wisteria, x-tray, yes please, zaza, philomel, tree rose. What are they? What are they all by? She. If you nude her in her prime, make sure you find her complete his complimentary or on your very first occasion by Angus Dagdassin and all his pissions. She'll prick you where you're proudest with her unsat spiegel eye. Look sharp. She's signaling from among the asters. Turn again. Wishful tone. Load mirror of doubtlet. Arise. Land under wave. Clap your lingua to her palate. Drop your jowl with a joint. Tambourine until your breath slides. Pet a pout and it's out. Have you got me, Alice Looper? My top it was brought a chill. Lows, my middle I opt before you. My bottom's a vulture, if ever they're voused, and my whole the flower that stars the day, and a solely well worth your pilger's farth, fart. Where there's a hitch ahead of things, let Hecker's halter hang and hal- halkended. For I see through your weapon, that cries not Colossus, and his eyelids are painted. If my tutor here is cut out for an old borer, I'm Flo, shy the peeps, you know. But when he beetles backwards, ain't I fly? Pull the bug pea to see how we sleep. Be peep, peep it. Would you like that lump of tongue for luncheon? Or this turkey's delighter, his hyphen miss. My belly swine's twelfth wolfer's power, though he knows as much how a man a wife as Dunkle Dalton of matching wools. Shake hands through the thicket lock. Sweet swan water. My other is mouth filled. This kissing wald's full of killing fellows kneeling valiantly to the cope of heaven. And somebody's coming, I feel for effect. I've a skillet, a sealet, seek. I've a secret to sell thee, if old Dinas won't be threst panting. When you'll next have the mind to retire to be wicked, this is as dainty a way as any. Underwood spells Bushmint's business. So if you sprig poplar would have bound to twigs this. 'Twas my lord of Glendalough Benedict's to gape the gape for me that time at long entry, commanding the approaches to my innermost. Look how they're brothered. 613s at Blanche de Blanche of 3 behind street and 2 Turnagain Lane. Abweg, oh, Awabweg is my Calabi. Magnus here's my Max. Wonder One's my cipher, and Seven Sisters is my neighborhood. Radigar, Rab, will ye not pick them in their pinks of panties? You can color up till your prawn while I go squirt with my cockle. When here who adults me in Fux's sleep. But if this could see with his backside, he'd be in the grand old green-eyed lobster. Here's my first view mark since Valentine. Winks the winning word. Look, in the house of breathings lies that word, all fairness. The walls are Rubian and the glister gates of elfinbone. The roof hereof is of massacrous jasper, and a canopy of Tyrian awning rises and still descends to it. A great cluster of lights hangs there beneath, and all the house is filling with the breathings of her fairness. The fairness of fondants, and the fairness of milk and rhubarb, and the fairness of roasted meats and una margarets, and the fairness of promise of consonantia and avowals. There lies her word, you reader. The height hereup exalts it, and the lowness her down abseth it. It reverberates upon the tegmen and proplodes from Pomaria. A window, a hedge, a prong, a hand, an eye, a sign, a head, and keep your other auger and her pay. And you have it, old Sim, pat as be seated. And Sonny, my gander, he's coming to land her. The boy which so now adores, the boy which she now adores, she doors. Oh, backed von dem Zug, make weg for their tug. With a ring ding dong, there raised clasped hands and advanced more steps to retire to the psalm. Curtsy one, curtsy two, with arms akimbo, devotees. Irrelevance. All sing. I rose up one maypole morning and saw in my glass how nobody loves me but you. Ugh, ugh. All point to the shim directions as if to shun. My name is Missa, but call me Toffee Tough. I mean Mettenkoff. It was her, the boy that was loft in the larch. Og, her reverence. All laugh. They pretend to health while they simply chanted to him sauce to make him pritch. And if not critique Sally looms, not by ever such a lot. 29s of bloomers, Gegeg and Man arose. Avis was there and thrilled her about it. She's her sex, for certain. So to celebrate the occasion, whilst thou Rousey Banders have it, he simulates to be tight and ribbing round his Rumpenkoff. Are you Schwarties that's hit on the shown style? He makes semblant to be swiping their chimblies. Can you a Jew, fro Shadam? He fingers to be cutting up with a pair of scissors and to be by bitings of their maidens and spitting their heads into their face pails. Spoken. So now you hushy little puckers, sighed her roosh, cleany funglers, grandseliers, all stay zitty. Adulterex rest as before, for you've jolly welly dwaddled all the day. When ye cough uh, Tantocles, hat there'll be largely temps for that. Yet's the time for being now.
For a burning wood has come to dance inane. Glamours hath moided leave, and herefore Coldors must leap no more. Lack breath must leap no more. Lel lols for Liebelman libeling his law. Lo, Liebelman, you love to be leaving Libnius. Lift your right to your liber lord. Link your left to your lass of liberty. La, Leaperman, your lep's but a loop to lee. A fork of hazel o'er the field invokes the vervine virgin's ode. If you cross this rood as you roamed the rand, I'm blessed, but you'd feel him a blasting rod. Behind me freeze from evil smells. Perdition stinks before us. Agatha herept, they fleurily to Nebnos wheel and Rosso scale. Twice is he gone to quest of her, thrice is she now to him. So see we sow as seed we sow. And their prunked queen kilt her kirtles up and set out, and a troop came heeling, oh. And what do you think that pride was dressed in? Vulican's diamond diner vestin. For ever they sent where'er she went, while all the fawn's flares widens wild to see a floral school, led by a lignifer, in 4 hops of the happiest, Ach Beth Cac Duff, a marrow of the sword in coronet, the few fly the far between. We'll haul many money on that piebald nig. Will any double dabble on the bay? Nor far jocubus? Nick for J? Atta lad. Get up, goth scourge on you. There's a visitation in your impluvium. Hun. He stanth there's mun in his natural oblius atomanescally of his very proprium, such as stockpot leaden, so did sun-spun crake. The want to be wanton made a will to be wise. Thrust from the light, apophoto rejected, he spurs loves from her heats. He blinkth, but wraths the higher where those wreath charity. For all of these have been this-worlders, time liquescing to interstate, pitiless age grows angelhood. Though, as he stays, most anising may befall him from a song of a witch to the daughter of a black arse, given a famished devil, a young sorcerette, an eternal conjunction, the permission of overalls with recuperation of nightshirt. If he spice east, he seethes in suits, and if he pierce north, he wilts in the waist. And what wonder with the mercury vice heaved in the shade? The specks on his lapspan are his foul deed those, wish marks of mad injomination. Take they off, make thee off, but funny legs are leanly. A bim-bam-bum. They vain would convert to be hers in the word. Gush they wooed, gash their fair ripe cherry. As for she could shake him, an oaf no more. Still he'd be good tutor too in his big arms-chair learning stool, and she be waxen in his hands, turning up and fingering over the most tantalizing peaches in the lingerest longerest book of the dark. Look at this passage about Galileo Toe. I know it is difficult, but when you gotch, I go dead. Turn now to this patch upon Smacchiavelluti. Suit the laws, he's sure to spot it. 'Twas ever so in monitorology since Headmaster Adam became Eva Hart's touche in omnibus moribus and temporibus, with man's mischief in his mind whilst her pupils swim to heavenlies, lest his exasperated letters be blowed. I is a feminine person. O of provocative gender. U unisingular case. Which is why trumpers are mixed up in duels, and here's B, Rohan meets N, Olan for the price of 1,000. But listen to the mocking bird to a mimicking bard making bed. We've heard it since Songdon was gemoral. As he was queering his stool thirst, so was I. And as I was cleansing my Fausties, so was he. And as we were puffling our blowbags, so were you. Come thrust, go parry, devoina braith and dare. The mad long ramp of Manchar's parliaments, the learned lack-learning, merciless as wonderful. Now may Saint Moe of the pleasant grin be your everglass and even prospect. Feeling dank. Exchange, reverse. And may Saint Jerome of the harlot's curse make family 3 of you, which is much a better. Grassy ass ago. And each was wrought with his other, and his continence fell. The bivetalines, Metallus and Ametallicus, her crown pretenders, obskinge-minded bikerers, veighing directly, Urusai each, oxus other, superfetated, never cleaner of lamps, frown fiercely or an anointer of hinges, whilst their tree-grown girls, king's game, if he deigns so, are in such transfusion just to know twixt timidly twoomies for gracious sake, who is art thou ducks from whose heterotropic, the sleepy or the glouch, for shyly born and showily nursered, exceedingly nice girls can strike exceedingly bad times, unless so richly chosens by, what though of riches he have none, and hope dashes hope on his heart's horizon, to gar their great moments greater. The thing is, he must be put straight on the spot, no mere water-stitchy stuff in the self-made world that you can't believe a word he's written in, not for pie, but one's only owned by natural rejection. Charlie, you're my Darwin, so sing they sequent the ascent of man, till they go round, if they go round again, before break parts and all dismissed. They keep, step, stop. Who is Fleur? Where is Ange? Or Gardoon? Creedless, croonless hangs his haughty. There ends no mo red devil in the white of his eye. Bragladite do him a catadoop. A quondam John Tom sick of a suck-butt. He does not know how his grandson's 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 grandson will stammer up in Peruvian, for in the erst best idiom I have done it equals I, so I shall do. He dares not think why the grandmother of his grandmother's grandmother coughed rusky with such husky accent, since in the mouth art of the Slove look at me now means I once was otherwise. Nor that the Mappamund has been changing pattern as youth plays moves from street to street since time and races were, and wise ants hoarded and sortirels were spendthrifts, no thing making new thing wealth show ever for a silly old soul, healthy to better and late wiser. Nor that the turtling of a London's alderman is ladled out by the waggerful to the regionals of Pygmyland. His part should stay in honour bound. So help me, Simothew, Samark, Sellock, and Singin. I will stick to you, by gum, no matter what, bite Simbum. And in case of the event coming off beforehand, even so, you was to release me for the sake of the other cheap girl's baby's name, plaster me. But I will pluckily well pull on the buckskin gloves. But Nudie Naddy's actual ingrate tootle is of come into the Ghana mauve and thy nice stores of morning and buy me lunch of iodines. Evidentement, he has failed as tiercely as the deuce before. She is wearing none of the 3. And quite as patently there is a hole in the ballet trough where the rest fell out. Because to explain why the residue is, was, or will not be, according to the eighth axiom, proceeded with, namely, since ever apart that goss and duad, so sure as there's a patch on the pomelo, there's yam ham in never live could, the shifting about of the lassies, the tug of love of their lads ending with a great deal of merriments, hoots, screams, scarf drill, cap fecking, ejaculations or arenhos, reekable, mirth peals, and general thumb to nosery, Miami's a young country, one must reckon with the sudden and gigantic esque appearance unwithstandable as in a general election in Bernardo's bearskin amongst the brawl middle of this village Childergarden of the largely long-suffering laird of Lukenhof.
But Vere de Vere, blank de blank, god of all machineries and tombstone of barn staple, by mortisection and vivisuture, splitting up the recompounded by Isaac Jacquemain Morimo, Malaysian, how accountable for him more blue? Was he Pichet for an ensample as certain have dog nosed of him against our sea wall of ruin, Toth and Cleaver, those three stout swinning hearts, Orion of the Orgarists, Mirishal Mockmarin, the Ipsdanden, product of the extremes giving quotitance to our means, as might occur to anyone. You Brutus layman with a Princius champion and our arch deaconess, or so ye clept from Cleo's clippings, which the chronicler of chivalries is scrupulous save he scabbed, for ancients link with presence as the human chain extends, have done, do, and will again as John Polycarp and I renews eye to eye, I witnessed in the Paddy Palmer, while monks sell you to archers of the water, and the living goes the way of all fish from Sarah's drawhead, the quarrelsome to Isaac's the Lafid, but one, with her monolisp exterior to his monolith interned. So Perichon with Bastine or heavy hump with airy non requiraquebrimbili jeque jolicas. How sows thou dulis a and abu abid, a babble man dub gluck of tears. The mar of mummery murmurs in the mind's ear, uncharted rock, evasive weed. Only the call knows his thousand first name. Hocus cocus Esqualius, Fin, the fainant. How feel full foes and foreigner? Doth it not all come after you, purity snopper, in a way television ops long times offer when Poddleluck muck sortier of or sour Dan Polos and Lapapalooza? The charges are, you will remember, the chances are you won't bit its old Joe, the Java Jane, older even than Autumn Costello. And we are recurrently meeting M. Par Mahan Messim encyclonazalium from space to space, time after time, in various phrases of scripture as in various poses of sepulture. Greets God, groceries, Merodach, defend the king, Hoet of the rough throat attack, but who say is soft, but whose has acute angle. He whose hut is a hisserlick, even as her herons aspire, and in so daintily she's a queen of Selm, a shaker, while as a murder of corpse when his maggots up, he's the best baritone sanger in all the isles of Scandinavia. As who shall hear? For now, at last, is long abed, going to be gone too, that more than man, prince of Bunicombe, of wide roadsters, the herb lord, the gillyflowerets, so fain fan to flatter about. Artho is the name is on the hero, Capilistio, shoe-handed slaughter of the shader of our leaves. Attach him, hold, yet stir thee to clay, to more. While wilt thou e'er waken him from his earth, O summoner other? He is weather bitten from the dusts of age. The hour of his closing hies to hand. The toxin that shall claconize his whereabouts. If one who remembered his web goods and tea lofts were to ask of a hooper for whose it was the storks were quitting Aquileria, this trundler would not wot. If other who joined faith when his depth charged bomb our barrel spillway were to Jehoshaphat, what doom is here? Rain ruth on them, sire. The wing of Moikill cover him. The Boljan boss brute quarantine him. Caliver, caution, slaves of virtue, saves his veritotum, Baronum Tolerius, procul abit, the Ivrobone gorer of Danamara Mara peeps, and try to saviorize the knights of labor to the order of our blooding world. While Pliny the younger writes the Pliny the elder, his camel, his camelorm, his calormian of Contumolus, what Alice Gallus picked on Macrobius, and what Vitervius pocketed from Cassandrius. Like we learnt from the buck of Lucken in Dublin's capital, Congdem cum. Even if you are the Cooper and the Winkler over measure, never lost a license, nor a Duncan Donagh devols from bath and breakfast. And for the honor of alcohol, drop that you know what I've come about. I saw your air. Punch may be pooter proud, but his Judy's a wife's wit better.
For the producer, Mr. John Baptista Vicar, caused a deep ebullientiousness to descend upon the father of truants, and at a side issue, Pluto promptly brought on the scene the cutlet-sized consort, foundling filly of 40 shilling foster tailor, and shipman's shopper hoyden, weighing 10 pebble 10, scaling 5 footsie 5 and spanning 37 inchettes round the good companions, 29 ditties round the wishful wastress, 37 alsos round the answer to everything, 23 of the same round each of the quisquisepara bits, 14 round the beginning of happiness, and nicely 9 round her shoed for slender. And eher you could pray mercies to goodness or help with your hokey or me hokey poo, Gallus's hen has collared her pullets. That's where they have Reglius for. Their bone of contention, flesh to their thorns, pressed as prestissima, makes off in a thinkling, and not one hen only, nor 2 hens neither, but every blessed Bridget came a clucking and a clacking, while Rum-a-Tum, the ram of all Hans, beer, widgeon, spirituosen for consumption on the premises, advocat were houten pleaders, mass marit, pass poolet, ras ruddest of all, though flamy festoon from gallanty fleurs is hewed and cried of each's colour. Home all go, hallome, Blair no more rams blares, oddmund barks, and cease your fumings, kindled bushies, and sherry goldies yesig nays, your wild shore show moves swiftly sternward. For here the holy language seems to come, to pause. 'Tis good, het best. For they are now tearing, that is, tear to returning. Too soon are coming task books and goody hominy bread and Bible bee, with jaggery row to juju yaw, finds French phrases from the grandmère des grandmères, and bothered parsnaps from the four masseurs Metatiasis, Marusius, Lucianus, Jocianus, and what happened to our 11 in 32, and anti-post dating the vulgar ira. And why is limbo where he is he? And what are the sound waves saying ceased ere they all weighed wrong and aminist, anguished, axis collis? And where fishing man fetched the monger fish from the what? From and what for, paddy bird, not please, rancoon, and why was Sindat sitting on him like sitbom like a sailor door, and why what the doc did in the Doyle, not to mention define the hydraulics of common salt and its denier crid of old Provence, where GPO is Zentrum and DUTC are radiance, right down by frequency of the scores and crores of your refractions, the valuations in the piece of dingings on NCR and SCR. That little cloud, a nebulissa, still hangs a sky. Singabed sulks before slumber. Light at night has an Alps on his druck house. Thick head and thin butter, or after you with me. Caspi, but Jerry stings the air. Gay legs to riot of us, Galax to laugh. What is a maid a day today to do? So Angland all weeping bin that Izzy most unhappy is. Fain Essie fi on hapshy, laughs her Stella's Visperine. While running about their ways, going and coming, now at Rimba Romba, now in Trapeza Trapazza, pleading a patent grand Giamptron, showed them of grace hoppers, aunt skippers, and coney farm lepers. They jeerillied along, jury and gay, and Marian maidcap, Lou, Dario, beside La Matitio, all boy, more all girl, sing out fellow, longer house, blong store, huddy, while it's nin, 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 that Bullman's clock, a whinny on the tinny side, nins, nin, 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 about old Father Barley, how he got up of a morning early, and he met with the platinum blondes named Hips and Haws, and fell in with a fellow's Trinity, some header Scoward shores, like, you'll catch it, don't fret, Mrs. Tummy Lupton. Come indoors, Scoffy Nosy, and shed your swank. Old Daddy Deacon would stow well his place of beacon, but he never could hold his kerosene's candle to. The nurse will give it you, sticky pots, and you wait, my lasso, fecking the twine. Bold Farmer Burley, who wuck up in her hurly-burly, where he hudly could waddle to wallow his weg of till bag of the baker's booth to beg of, you're well held now, Missy Cheekspeare, and your panto's off. Fie for shame, Ruth Wheatacre, after all the booze said. Il diddy aitchen for the prize of a piece of bacon with a pinch of the panch of the paunch and juries for. Ah, crab eyes, I have you, showing off to the world with that gape in your stocking. Wold Forrester Farley, who, in desperation of de-ispiration at the de-aspiration of his diaspiration, was found of the round of the sound of the lound of the look at the door in dunna dura skew de loo shoe fermoy porter tui rizui svalnan bort and sport kohau cansa croyd verge capac capuk bifol.
Up loud! The play thou Scroutsburg game here endeth. The curtain drops by deep request. Up louder main! Gone the gods. Gunner's gut spells. When the H, who the who, how the hue, where the hewer. Orbiter's answers. Lots lives lost. Fiona is fed up with Fidge Fudginsons. Sealand snaws. Rending rocks, rogue wreckings reigns. Guads, the gurs are Gudemurng, Hulsvuls, the timid hearts of worlds, all exio monsant. Managod, Lamin Lao, how do that come? By dad, you'd not heed that fret? Full Gittertudes, it just Rowdanan Twalt, Quag, and Buckley's Doodle, Kadoosh. Of their fear they broke. They ate wind, they fled. Where they ate, There they fled. Of their fear they fled. They broke away. Go to, let us extol Azrael with our harps, by our brews, on our jambuses, in our gates. The mesozalium with the defilinium did its dickens dud. Yip, yup, yahar, yar, and let necklace necklon ektol mako, and let him say unto him, Emi ami simi, and shall not Babel be with Lebeb? And he war, and he shall open his mouth and answer, I hear, O Ismael, how thy laud is only as my loud is one. If Nekolon shall be heavens falled, surely Mako heavens. Go to, let us extol Mako. Yeah, let us exceedingly extol. Though you have lain among your pospots, my excellency is over Ismael. Great is him who is over Ismael, and he shall mecking neck of Mac Necklon, and he deed. Up louder, louder margarine, for the clear of the air from on high has spoken tumble dumble, tamble blamble, to his timblem dim, tomblum dome world and mogfos noised by the phenomenon. The inhabitants of the earth have trembled from firmament unto fundament, and from tweedledum's down to twiddledees. Loud, hear us. Loud, gracious, hear us. Now have thy children entered into their the habitations, and nation glad, camp meeting over, to Shin, Gov be thanked. Thou hast closed the portals of the habitations, and thy children, and thy hast set thy guards thereby, even Garda Didiums and Garda Domes, that thy children may read in the book of the opening of the mind to light and air, not in the darkness, which is the afterthought of thy no matter by the guardians of the guards, which are thy bodemen, the cherryboyum, cheery booth with the carry bombers and the crumbims. Pray your prayers, Timothy, and back your bunk, Tom. Till tree from tree, tree among trees, tree over tree becomes stone to stone, stone between stone, stone under stone forever. O loud, hear the we beseech to these for each of these thy unlitten ones. Grant sleep in hours time, O loud, that they take no chill, that they do mean no murder, that they shall not go meet mad who waitress. Loud, heap uh, miseries upon us, yet entwine our arts and laughters low. Ha he hi ho hoo mum.
Oh, amazing. That was chapter 2-1. Part 2.
I will say,
Wake. Yeah, get into it, TJ.
I absolutely love the idea the curtain drops with deep request.
Oh, absolutely. I circled that. I was like, as a playwright, I was like, oh, curtain dropping by deep request.
They're like, can this be over? Is it done? Thank you so much.
Kind of feels like watching KCACTF productions.
Sometimes you're like,
when you be like a guest respondent, you meet at some rural university and you watch
like
him. I would like the curtain to drop by deep request.
I will say, I feel for a moment I was like, I think I know, and then I was like, JK, no, nothing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And there were a couple times where I was like, oh, I have it, and then I got the concept of where we were, and then I spent so much time in my head considering what that concept was, but by the time I'd continued reading down, and then my mind checked back into what we were reading. I was like, oh, I don't know what this means now. I was good 3 paragraphs ago, but now I'm lost. So it's an interesting one. There's some really beautiful stuff in here.
There is. And then I circled a word that I was like, my pronunciation was so culturally informed. And it is on page 243. It was the word chitterling. So whenever I see that word at the bottom of 243, chitterlings, right? We just pronounce those chitlins in the South. And so I was like, I know what that word is, chitlins. And I just moved on. And I was like, wait, I don't know. But, that's the regionality I brought to it. And so when I see that word, I was like, I know exactly how that sounds to me.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think he'd be delighted. If that wasn't his intention, he would probably be thrilled to go, oh, there's additional meaning here.
Yeah, I was like, pig intestines. He's talking cow, mate, and pig intestines on account of, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, chiltlings, yeah. So I mean, the context is probably a little off, but I think the pronunciation is probably exactly what it needs to be. So we started out today's episode with a reading from my big son, who is big. He's just about as tall as I am now, and he's a competitive swimmer and baseball player. So he's got some heft to him. But who knew? He's actually quite a good reader of Joyce.
I love the fact that he laughed when he found something funny, though. I feel like we have stopped ourselves from doing that.
Yeah,
but I love that he just went for it.
Yeah, a couple of times, just like pausing and be like, "Oh, that's crazy, Dad." he would laugh and he'd look right at me and be like, "Ha!" And then he'd go back and say it over again. So I did have a chat to him after so I'm going to play this really quickly so that we can just put this onto the record. So here is my chat with Cormac Malone. I am sitting here with, what's your name?
Cormac Malone.
Cormac Malone, my son of nearly 15 years of age. And you just recorded a section from Finnegan's Wake for me, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
So what were you doing immediately prior to and right after recording that section?
I was playing the drums.
You were playing, and then I sent you away, and then the interview that I did before got corrupted.
Yes.
So you're sitting here doing it again. Yeah. So doing something over again that you've just done already feels kind of like something from James Joyce.
It's like just reading the same word over again, trying to get it right.
Yeah, and so this is all part of it. It's part of the experience. There's nothing I hate more than retracing my steps. You know that.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But that's okay. Getting another chance to sit here with my boy, I will take it. So you've had an hour now to reflect on your experience of reading Finnegan's Wake. Are you changed?
I haven't thought about it much. That's for sure. It actually slipped my mind when I was upstairs that it happened. But in the brief 10-minute period that I was thinking about it, I did think it was fun, and I'm glad that I did it.
Kind of interesting to read those words that you probably wouldn't get a chance to read otherwise. And
while I was putting that off for a very long time, I'm definitely happy that I did it eventually.
I am happy too. Did you remember any of the words that stood out as being kind of really fun to say? Or
where was it? There was a lot of alliterations on the page that I was reading, so a lot of repetition of the same
That's kind of
sound.
Fun.
I love those. Here it is. Tough luff man, he strip him all mussy calico blong.
Calico blong. You can name your band that. So you're in a band right now called Big Posy.
I am, yes.
Which is fun. You play the bass.
Mm-hmm.
But once your friends graduate high school and you're left behind them, Calico blong. I still think having a Finnegan's Wake inspired band name would put you over the top at the Battle of the Bands, don't you think?
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to listen to any of the Wake podcast yet?
No, I have not.
None?
None.
Wow. Okay, you got away with it. I didn't haven't played it in the car or forced you to sit and listen. That's okay. It's actually
yes. No. Now that I think about it, I have been forced to listen to it in the car.
Right. Yeah. I apologize for that. That's not
okay.
really cool. But I don't know. Interested to hear what you all think. But look, I appreciate you coming and redoing this interview with me, and I appreciate you being on this. I know TJ, who's one of your favourite people, he is thrilled that you recorded this section for me. So I can think he's got a big smile on his face right now, just because he's known you since you were a little boy. So so that's pretty fun. Anyway, what are you Are you playing guitar upstairs now?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Well, I will release you. Go play guitar, and thank you for recording with me.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity.
Okay. See you, bud.
You can tell him I did have a big smile on my face because
you did. I was watching you in the screen here, and I was like, "There it is." I knew it. I mean, you and Cormac have that connection.
He's so good. He's just so good.
Yeah, he is. I'm very, very, very lucky. Both my kids are very nice people to be around and very obedient. When I say things like, "Hey, can you sit down and read Finnegan's Wake?" They're like, "All right, sure."
Well, you can let him know that Taylor and I are ready to play him in Magic the Gathering whenever he's ready.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Great.
But yeah, so I know we are going to read about what happened. I want to take a stab at this. Is weird.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah,
there was a section in here that I was like, this is a little too sexy. Like what? Tell me, am I the only one who caught up on this? I was like, there's something happening here that's a little too risque. I don't know if they should be reenacting these children, because I had to go back to like, this is the context of a play, so they are doing a thing, right? I forgot what section it was, but there was a section there I was like, what? No, calm down, don't do this. Don't do this. I think that started to happen, and then I got that they were like, yo, we're done, and then they were like, the place I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the three of them, right? I mean, you got the siblings, and the Floras are there. I mean, it's interesting because it comes and goes between this idea of an intimate meeting of these siblings to spreading out. I mean, there was that whole section about the moon coming out over the zoo.
So I was like, are they just running around outside?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's just sort of sort of zooming out to show us what's happening in the world at that moment, the moon coming out and all the animals in the zoo, and then coming back into the pub and seeing the people in there, and the pub closes. Yeah, there's some really interesting shifts in perspective, which when you start, you go, okay, I think I get what this is, and this is the game between these siblings, but it's more than that as well. There's a lot of the characters who come up at the beginning of the chapter, who are listed in their dramatis personae, come back. We hear their names popping up, but they're not exactly front of mind characters.
Yeah,
Kate comes back here, but only in name once. And I loved the Macbeth reference. Did you get that big long reference on page 250 in the middle? For a burning wood would come to dance inane.
Oh yeah,
glamours or glams hath morded leaves, and therefore Coldors must leap no more. Lack breath must leap no more, which is obviously for Burnham Wood has come to Dunsinane. Glams hath murdered sleep, and therefore Cawdor must sleep no more. Macbeth must sleep no more. I'm feeling quite pleased with myself for pulling that out off the top of my head. But those moments, again, for when I first said for burning wood is come to Dunsinane, I said the words as just words, and I got to the end of that sentence, Dunsinane, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is Shakespeare.
Yeah.
He does that. He hides these things in there, and obviously and then saying lel lols for libelman, living his law, lo lieberman, you love to be leading libneus, lift your right to your liber lord, link your left to your lass of liberty, la lieberman, your lips are but a loop to lee. How much fun is that? Just give me justice. Just say that kind of stuff. It feels like sometimes I feels like this is doing a Tough Mudder, but with your mouth.
Yeah, and I'm quickly realizing I was like, my mouth is just not made for that. I mean, whenever I used to do Shakespeare when I was acting or anything of like heightened language and any sort of tongue twister, it was like I was never a big like theater warm up person. I'm like, yeah, go get your energy somewhere else. But those things, I was like, I need to get my tongue. I've always struggled with that, and I'm sitting here like, how dare he? But also like. I was like, haha, you didn't catch me. Although I feel like I left something out for the readers on page 242. Whenever it's sing a psalm of sixpence, right? Because I was like, I noticed the word psalm, and I was like, oh, the P is silent, so all the P should be silenced. But at first, my brain was like, read it, sing a psalm of sixpence, right? Which I kind of wish I had. I don't know. He does that does that one other place with the word gnome. Yeah. Mere gnomes of mountains. It's Gamir gnomes of mountains, which I think is
which is designed for the reader. Yeah, it's because and that sexpence one is spelled P-S-E-X-P-E-A-N-S.
Yeah,
so
sexpence.
So hearing it out loud, you wouldn't even pause on the word. You'd think, oh, sixpence, like the currency, but sexpence is a whole different thing.
You said the best insult that I now want to hold with me anytime I'm frustrated with somebody. 246, jerk off and eat soup. Like, I was like, that's great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then I thought one that could be repurposed for a Pride Month T-shirt on page 241.
Oh yes,
the queerest man in the benighted queendom. There we go. Yes, put that on a shirt and sell it in June.
I also like that gay youth, wherever that was. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, lots of really interesting things that come up, like always. And then the most interesting of all, of course, is our latest thunder word, which we get another 100-letter word. And each of these, so we've had this before where we've had one which was the thunder word was all of the different words for thunder in different languages. And then we had one which was all the words for applause in different languages. So this one is so cool because this has ALP has gone in and grabbed the kids and said, it's time to go inside and do your homework. And we'll find out about what their homework is in the next chapter. But she's sort of listing off all the different kinds of homework that they have. And then at the end, this thunder word, when she finally gets them into the room and shuts them in and says, okay, sit down and do your homework, this thunder word is, in about 15 different languages, the word for shut the door, shut the door, shut the door, shut the door, shut the door.
That's cool.
So Joyce is really allowing the thunder to do some work for him here.
I do love the idea that they have this play, and then the mother's like, come inside, and the second that they shut the door, everyone's like, great, it's over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's in the pub. It's like those. I mean, I don't know, when you were kids, when your parents had a party or something, were you and your friends or siblings, always the ones coming down and putting on a play for the adults?
I was brought out to play the saxophone, but here's the thing: I was playing the saxophone in middle school. Let's be very clear: they do not give you cool saxophone parts in middle school. You're playing the counter melody that has like 15 things of rest, and I was like, this is embarrassing, but okay.
Listen to my long notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and my sister were always of those kids, because we had older cousins, and so you'd always go away while the parents were doing some kind of dinner party, and then you'd come back and say, we've written a play, everyone sit down and watch our play. And so you put on the play, and then it's very much like the So Long Farewell song from Sound of Music, where adults are always like, yeah, kids, go to bed. Go to bed. Enough of your nonsense.
They're like, you done yet? Yes, please.
Yeah, so we see that happen at the end here. In terms of what is happening here, let's see if we got any of it. So this is from the Oxford World's Classic summaries, following the page and line numbering convention standard for that text. So we started on page 240.5 and went through to 243.36. Glug returns, cleans up his act, will defend both HC and ALP. On 244 up until 246.35, moonrise is imminent. Night falls over the zoo. A pub will open. A Phoenix Park nocturne. Distantly, HC is heard calling. I feel like we got the moonrise and the zoo.
I was like, he was calling for him?
Yeah. 246.36 to 250.15, Glug, reformed, is reintroduced. The Floras tease him with more clues, so more about the underwear. 250.16 to 253.32, they dance. Glug is still frustrated, but one day he will be their teacher, and then in quotations that has here, toucher, which I'm here to say that teacher and toucher should be in no sentence together.
But see, that's the thing. That's the moment I was like, this is getting a little too risque, because he was all like, just wait, like it's going to be you and me. And I was like, this is not, y'all are dancing. Don't play like hide and go get it. This is too much. You know?
Glug and Chuff duel before the dancing girls. Glug's confusion and failure, which feels very close to home as from my childhood. 253.33 to 255.26. HCE, man of mystery, stirs. Leave him to sleep. 255.27 to 257.27. ALP appears to bring the kids in for homework. Issy is in tears. ALP struggles with them, then slams the door. And that sound of her door slamming is the close the door, close the door, close the door. Thunderword, 257.28 to 259. The play is over. The thunder claps. A prayer for calm and sleep.
I got that part.
Yeah, I think just about every parent gets that idea of a prayer for calm and sleep. Please just let them sleep through.
But I also love the fact that HCE was like, "Yo, where y'all at, kids?" And then he's like, "I'm just gonna go sleep. I'll let my wife go get them."
Yeah. There was the other thing that I wanted to point out, that there was a reference. I just wanted to bring it up because it was close to home at the top of 246 when it talked about all's quiet on the feld of Gory. And so that's a reference to a great 18th century battle in the Irish, the Irish skirmishes against the Brits. So in Gory, which is in Wexford County, there was the Battle of Taberneering, which happened in 1798 in this town of Gory, where the Irish kicked the crap out of the English. And had a great victory there. But Gory is a little town in which I spent Y2K New Year's Eve in 1999 going into 2000. So that's my connection to Gory, is that I was in Wexford. I was staying in Enniscorthy, which is a little town near there. And so me and my buddy went to Gory for New Year's Eve. And we had a very nice time drinking Guinness and Jamesons and singing songs. And it was delightful. So I have a strong connection to, I was in Gory for 3 days, so it doesn't really count. But and that's 25 years ago nearly. So still, it counts. I think
it counts. It counts.
And then on 256, Bridget is mentioned. So I'll have to mention that to my daughter, who's also named Bridget, that she's been named
in the book. Wake. You've been named.
Yeah, there you go. Yes,
she's been named.
I'm sure we're going to find. Do you think Thornton's going to come up?
Never. Thornton never comes up in a book. Never, ever.
I mean, maybe.
It won't. Unless it's about Billy Bob, no one ever writes it down.
or Wilder.
Yeah, very true. Those are the only two references.
I would take Wilder over Billy Bob myself.
Well, yeah, but there's more people writing about Billy Bob Thornton right now than Thornton Wilder.
Yeah, fair enough. So another really interesting chapter. We are our next chapter is going to get kind of gnarly, and it's always the chapter that everyone says to us, "Oh, you're reading Finnegan's Wake. How are you going to do night lessons?" And if you're not familiar with the book yet, and we'll talk about this a lot in the next episode, is the night lessons is the most tricky chapter in the book in terms of formatting, because it is written in 3 columns with footnotes and diagrams. So there is a lot of stuff going on. And so when TJ and I were trying to figure out what we were going to do for this, there was only one answer to that question. Get Neil.
Yes.
So we got our very great friend Neil, who you'll all be familiar with from a couple of episodes earlier in the podcast, and he is returning to us because he had a very clear idea in his mind about how you could perform night lessons with 3 actors or 3 performers taking on roles. So we're going to do it. So we're going to record that next week. So we're very excited about what that's going to look like. And so everyone who's doubting us and saying, well, you'll get to night lessons and then you'll quit because how could you possibly do it? We got you. I think if we get through night lessons, we can handle anything.
100%.
So good. So we're looking forward to that, and we will get that going. Anything we missed, TJ?
No.
I feel like we've got a handle on.
For this next
I think it's
section.
feeling a little bit more dynamic at the moment. We've got away from the history of things, and now people are doing things in real time. The siblings are doing stuff, and next we get their homework, their lesson that they're going to sit through and complain about all the way.
The thing I'm most excited about is that we will cross the 300-page mark by the end of night lesson.
And the 300 page mark is essentially halfway.
Yeah. Then we're downhill.
So really downhill. Once we get past 300 pages, I guess once we get to the end of the Night Lessons chapter, we are 49.04% of the way through Finnegan's Wake. So we are essentially there. And then after that, chapter 2.3 is a big old one. It's like 90 pages or something. So that's going to be multiple recordings. But
yes,
but that's okay. We got time. We got time.
Nothing but,
But one thing we don't have today is time, because that is all the time we have for Wake. But we will return next week to finally arrive at that chapter that the purists said would break us, the mighty and complex Night Lessons chapter. I've been Toby Malone, joined as ever by TJ Young, and we are here to say that we are up to the task. We'll see you next week, fabric colour guessers. This has been Wake, a cold reading of James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, just to hear it out loud. If you've made it this far, thank you for your dedication. Join us next week for another segment of Finnegan's Wake and a chat about what we've found. Wake is a Moon Street Media podcast, engineered by TJ Young and Toby Malone. Our theme song is The Ballad of Perso Riley, arranged and performed by Meg Logue after James Joyce. Wake is recorded in Canada, where Finnegan's Wake is in the public domain. For community and bonus content, join us at our free Patreon at patreon.com/wakepod. If you have questions about Finnegan's Wake, don't ask us. We're just as confused as you are. See you next week.